Hey, you there. I think you should move a little left. Oh, well, fuck. Are you tired of shit like this happening? Because I know I am. I'm making this video so I can tell you all some tips on how to work with your team and take this fucker out without you dying too. It's your boy Smug Dubs back at it again on a lovely evening, here to explain how everything's gonna work. So, first of all, I am doing a voiceover because I can't concentrate during hunts, and I may be referencing a few sources that I learned. There will be some stuff that I found out on my own, but I just thought it'd be nice to compile it all. So here I'm just gonna loop through this video and talk about all the jewels here. So I have the Sprinter Jewel because it'll help me hang on to monsters better without falling off. The Fortitude Jewel is just so if I do die, it'll make me stronger pretty much every time. Vitality Jewels are for just more health. Defense is obvious. Friendship Jewels I recommend to any player that wants to do support because it heals your allies if you heal yourself, and that's going to be needed pretty often. Anyways, moving on. I recommend armor that has really high defense, such as the Kulf Teroth. Also, just because this armor specifically has a friendship skill, which is wide range. Here I'm using the Teroth Glaive Paralysis, but really, almost any glaive should do. I do recommend Paralysis though, just because you get more free hits. The Temporal Mantle is a must-have because you dodge a lot of stuff. Glider Mantle is good for me just because it makes mounting easier. And of course Defense Charm for defense. But Temporal Mantle is a must for everyone. Getting your high defense armor and all that good stuff, and your support skills, you're definitely going to want to bring healing items. You're going to want to get some items that'll buff your character up, such as Power Seed and Armor Seed, Max Potions, Ancient Potions, and all your talents, and definitely some Mega Nutrients to increase your max health. The Burrow Bombs, they're if you plan on sleep bombing, which I recommend. And then rations just to keep your stamina up. The most important item I recommend is a flash pod, and to make those you need flash bugs. Now the reason you need these is because it uses an attack called Charybdis, at least that's how I think it's pronounced, but anyways, point aside, use that to cancel out the attack, and it's pretty useful because if you don't do it, the field's going to get cluttered up and it's going to be real hard to move around. Alternatively, if you want to go offensive, I would just go full out. Now in this case, I got the behemoth stuff by using the Palico skill, the Plunder Blade, in order to collect parts. I also sleep bombed its head and just went ham on the claws. So yeah, if you want to go full offense, get something like this, or at least something that's just as good in terms of attack. I just like this for its high defense. Now for the hunt itself, you're going to want to start things off by definitely eating a meal. I recommend defense because this guy hits like a truck. Elemental res up should be fine. And I forgot to mention before, but I recommend stuff with thunder resistance and fire resistance because that's what you're pretty much dealing with. Ironically enough though, its own armor isn't quite resistant to both. Now, for people who use stamina, the Wiggly Litchi's recommended. There's another one to the right where I passed by if you're playing with a team and all that good stuff. And as I'm doing here, you're going to want to buff up before going in, just making sure. That was a message. These messages you can use to communicate to your team. I recommend having like a radio menu set up like this one just to communicate with team if you're not doing voice chat, but I highly recommend voice chat because you can get a lot more progress by telling your teammates what's going on. So yeah, now I'm just picking up some Crystal Burst, and I'm gonna try to lure him under the pillars, because that's how I believe is the best way to start up this fight. Okay, so we're gonna get his attention, And it may take a moment to get him to actually come under the spot, but that's fine. You know, if there's a party, some of us can maybe start attacking him, at least the ranged people, but yeah, you'll see him do a slow walk. That's the safest time to like hit the pillars, but if you're feeling confident, then you can just shoot it whenever you think he's gonna be under it. But yeah, I recommend waiting for him to be like right there, because that's a lot of damage that could potentially be wasted. Okay, so that's how the fight should start. Now, I'm gonna try to describe some of his moves as we just do this. So, that area in front of him is just gonna be full of meteors whenever he does that specific charge. Best way to avoid it is staying behind his arm. So that attack you just saw was Charybdis. It'll spawn a Kushala Daora tornado-like thing, and as you saw, I used the flash bomb to stop him. Now you're gonna see how Temporomantle works. It's gonna help a lot dodging. Like, I can just start going ham on him and not worry about taking too much damage. As you saw though, that quick paw swipe will sometimes penetrate your Temporomantle ability or whatever. I don't know why or how. So yeah, just be careful. Play it safe no matter what. As you see, this is why I got paralysis. Just those free hits. What I'm trying to do here is get its attention, its enmity, and I'll explain why that's useful. So yeah, there's Charybdis and some of its basic stuff. And here, as you see here, that's its enmity. And just a quick interruption, you have to attack its head in order to get that to happen, so listen to the tips they tell you on the side menu or whatever. When that happens, he only targets the person that the red arrow thingy is drawn to. So everyone else should be spending this time to go ham. And as you see, I'm hitting this guy from a distance, but I'm like still able to move around. I think that's the best setup for drawing its attention. It should definitely be like a glaive user or a bow user, just because they can move around and shoot like at a long range. I mean, it's not like too much damage, but honestly, anything to speed up the fight is worth it. So yeah, if you are being targeted by this guy, try not to get too close to him, because chances are most people are going to be melee fighters, and you don't want them like shooting meteors at you when your teammates are nearby. So yeah, if you're luring it, just stay away. Because right now you can try to picture 3 other people just like going ham on its arms as it's like walking slowly, which is pretty effective if you ask me. So here I'm showing you what happens when you leave the area. Essentially it starts to heal, or at least you get a message that suggests that. I would assume worst case and think that it's actually healing. But if you are in a party, as long as one person is in the field fighting it, it will not heal, or at least give that message. And also, if you leave, its enmity will kind of disappear. So yeah, here I'm showing off my other set. This is the, I guess, DPS role, since I just showed what support kind of does. As you see there, that's what happens with Charybdis. If you don't flash him, it will stay there for a long time, and he will cast more than one before that one disappears. So it's always good to just like stay on track. See, he's casting another one already, and I try to flash him, but not in time. That's why I recommend at least 2 people in the team have it, just in case. But if you're in a situation, let's say, where you cannot use a flash bomb because maybe you ran out and you have to craft more, whatever, I would just try to take the attack to the edge of the map where it won't affect you. When he does that stance, stay away. Alright, So this part's gonna be a little boring just because I suck at this and I don't do too much damage in a small time. But I guess the last thing I can mention is that his arms are the weak spots. His arms are his face, but for dual blade users like me, it's kind of hard to reach the face. So yeah, arms, go ham on them. That attack, just don't stand in front of it. The best place to fight this guy as a melee user is like right behind his forearm. Yeah, right there, because most of his attacks don't hit right there, except for his spin, but that's when you have to learn the stance he makes to get away. His arm swipe's annoying, but if you have like full health and stuff, it's not too big of a deal. But since we're on that note, don't get hit by his attacks. Like, I would say just any of them, because they leave you stunned for a while, and he can combo you to death. Alright, so I'll be skipping to a next part. Oh, it's a little glitchy. Okay. So, skipping a couple minutes of tedious arm slashing. Which, by the way, that's why they recommend a full party, because unless you're someone like Kanta Perme or, you know, those really professionals, this'll take forever. Maybe not possible. Not to put anyone down. Maybe it's just because I'm a scrub. I don't know. My best time on this area is 5 minutes, but as you saw, once you deal enough damage, he will go to the next area. So the first time he does it, it's okay. But afterwards, once he takes enough damage and gets ready to leave the area, he will cast Ecliptic Meteor, which is such a bitch. It was the move you saw at the very beginning of the video. I didn't get him to trigger it this time. But yeah, so other stuff when he moves to a new area, he'll have a few new attacks. First of all, you'll notice that more than one meteor fell. He will start casting meteor on the entire party. Oh, by the way, that technique I just did, I will explain that. Just keep in mind that is the jump gesture. But yeah, he'll use thunder, and it's not like random, but you only have like a second to react to that. So yeah, keep that in mind. But yeah, he's definitely getting more aggressive as you go on. So that's why you need thunder resistance as well. That slam move causes quakes if you don't roll, and if you get hit by it, you get stunned for a while. And as you saw, that fucking quake effect got me comboed to death. So yeah, if you're not careful, you're gonna die. Okay, so that jump gesture that I mentioned, getting my English all twisted up. Basically, when it uses Ecliptic Meteor, you're going to want to hide behind the comet that you saw in my video, and I'll explain that soon. Or, if you have no comments, or you can't, comets, and can't reach it, what you have to do is use that jump gesture right before the meteor hits. Like, I mean right before it. Because you'll be fucked if you don't. Instant kill. Oh, so now the comets. When you do enough damage to it, I should say, it does drop comets. Like it'll say it's summoning a comet, and you'll see like a flash of light under one of the characters. When that happens, try to run to an area that you think would be good for staying behind when the attack happens. The thing about comets are, once it lands, I would recommend staying away from it, because this guy can break them, and you'll run out of options of what to do when that one-hit kill happens. So, yeah. And then, on that note, when you do think he's ready to leave the area, which, I don't know, that's kind of based on experience fighting him, then that's when you can get kind of close to it, not right next to it. And as you see here, I'm doing like a sleep bombing technique. That's just another way to handle this guy. You saw the pillars do like 1,700. This is gonna do about 600 and some, which isn't too bad for like just 2 bombs. if you get a whole team of people with barrel bombs, this method could be pretty effective for killing it, assuming we all have the bomb up skill. So yeah, I leave the quest early here because it's fucking futile, not to be a downer. But yeah, putting all that advice together, I'd have to say those are like general strats to going about this guy. There are more specific ones, like Weiss Gaming's channel mentioned something about mounting it and just staying clung to it. Honestly, I mean, this is a general strat, but yeah, feel free to just explore on strategies. This video is more just to encourage people to like try to learn about this guy so that less randoms die and you can finally beat this quest, because God knows I can't. On that closing note, I'd like to say that I forgot to mention one thing. After third stage, his attacks don't get any worse, but he does have a meteor slam where it's like he slams his fist and there's a row of meteors going forward from that. Other than that, if I forgot to mention anything, please say it in the comments and stuff. And sorry about the shitty editing, I just don't have time. But I wish you all who are watching good luck hunting out there, and I don't know, maybe I'll find you online and stuff and you'll have learned what I had to share. Anyways, peace.